Well, welcome back to A Nurse's Voice. This month I'm here with Jacob Qualls, who was our Nico Award winner. Jacob, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. So a little background on the Nico Award. This is an internal award that Travel Nurses Inc. uses to recognize and honor our travelers that go above and beyond in the work that they do. The Nico Award was named after a late employee of ours, Nico Daly, who tragically passed away a few years back from cancer, but he was known for his infectious smile, his constant positive attitude, and his dedication to going above and beyond for his travelers and everything he did. So this is truly a huge honor in terms of an award for our travelers, and we give it out once a quarter. So congratulations, Jacob. This is truly an honor.
Oh, thank you so much.
So for your nomination, your recruiter, Katie, sent us a photo that you had received from the facility that you're at. And anytime that people get feedback, typically it's negative because it's very easy for people to just give negative feedback in any kind of industry. So it really speaks volumes whenever you can get feedback that's positive, because it shows that somebody really was impacted by what you did, and it kind of holds a little bit more weight. So could you tell us a little bit about your approach to dealing with your patients and handling your patients? Because obviously it's different than the typical nurse.
Of course, yeah. I just try to prioritize my care for my patients. I know a lot of people get caught up in I guess you could say the office politics, and that if you bring that in the patient's room, they're not going to feel like they're cared for. And I also find it very important just to be basically their light in the darkness that they're suffering through. Just prioritize everything. If they ask for something, just go above and beyond, go out of your way. You may be exhausted or just fed up with something, but just, take a second before you go in the room. I'll do it a lot of times. I'll just stand there at the door, kind of recollect myself, and put a smile on. And I think that makes a difference, because if you portray that happiness to them, usually they're more likely to take that in a more positive way. Yeah. So I just try to prioritize that. And a lot of times I get a lot of positive feedback just verbally. So getting a letter it means a lot. And just a lot of that stuff doesn't escalate to the managers or to you guys. It's more just like something between me and the patient that I receive.
Yeah, I like what you said about being a light in the darkness for your patients, because if you're in the hospital, it's not a good day.
No.
Nobody wants to be in the hospital.
Right.
I love that you do that for your patients and giving them their humanity and giving them everything that they need to feel comfortable in whatever situation that they're in. How long have you been traveling?
I have been traveling, I believe, since April 2022. I did start originally with you guys were called OR nurses previously.
Yes.
And I kind of fluctuated between them and another company. Mm-hmm. I had no idea how travel nursing worked. I was just kind of following what other travelers were telling me and taking their recommendations. And in the end, I kind of just stuck with travel nurses now, just because I guess at some point I got moved over to Katie's group of nurses, and she just has such a really good spirit. Her positivity makes me want to stay with her, honestly, and she does a really good job.
Well, our ultimate goal is to impact our patients positively, and from the recruiter's point of view, they do that by being positive and impacting you so that you can then be positive and impact your patients. So the end goal for everybody involved is always a positive patient outcome. So I love hearing that Katie has been doing that.
She does it really well.
Yes, she's a very positive person. On that note, you and Katie do have a very good working relationship. So what is something that you look for in a recruiter? What's something that you value?
I value communication, and I value that in a lot of my relationships. Just having full transparency of what's going on and being able to communicate my feelings, and having an open door for venting and just telling her about my day, and being able to text her any hour of the day. And I work night shift or day shift depending on the contract, so I know that she'll respond when she's back on the clock, and sometimes even when she's not. And I think that means a lot too. Just her being able to also be open with me and having more of a personal relationship, not kind of like this she's my superior manager relationship, but I get to hear about her life too sometimes. And I'll tell her, like, hey, I'm going to this place, and then she'll tell me, oh, I was there before and I did this and that. And then it's just a really nice thing to be able to connect with somebody that I don't really see in person, but also is in a sense kind of my manager.
Yeah, I think it's easy for travelers to forget that their recruiters are humans too. So Katie adding that personal touch, like asking where you're going, talking about where she's been. I know Katie likes to talk about her family, so it does add that humanistic aspect of the recruiting and having that good relationship, and it builds trust with the people that you're staffing too. So yeah, that's really great. One thing that Katie mentioned to me is that you love all things nature and hiking, and you like going to national parks in between your assignments. So what's been your favorite place that you've visited in between contracts?
Favorite place I've been? I think, that's such a tough decision. There's two places that come to mind. I would say Colorado and Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
I loved Colorado for the vast difference of nature compared to where I live in Memphis.
Yeah.
The big mountains, the awesome trails, and just the nature itself is just so beautiful. It's something you see on TV pretty much. Mm-hmm. And I loved Knoxville a lot because it did sort of have all that nature stuff, but the people there were exceptional. My coworkers were awesome. They were all travel nurses, and we could go out after work and enjoy spending time with each other, and also having roommates that would want to hang out, and I think that meant a lot to me as well. So that experience in Knoxville was pretty cool.
That's amazing. So you got the outdoorsy experience with a mix of Southern charm.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure talking with you. And everyone, be sure to join us next month for another episode of A Nurse's Voice. We'll see you next time.